So let's start with what I created. This is basically the cleaned up version of the plant. I took the time to really make it visible what I'm doing, and so that it's much clearer for you to follow along um, for your interest. This part was previously this one, so to be honest, I don't clean up my stuff when it's just for me. So basically, this was the original file, and it's yeah roughly the same. The I think the limbs are a few more, and so let me see when I go to the boundaries. So that's the one I created for the Instagram. So I think that's good enough, but I decided to make it a little bit less complex so that it's easier to follow along. But when you understand what I'm doing after this tutorial, you easily can build it your own, or you can change it as you like. So I don't want you to go through this mess, so I color coded it and cleaned it up. In this tutorial, it's gonna be, I think, two parts. I will show you how I did this. So we going through every step, and it's not that complex. I would say my experience in Houdini is about 1 year, so I think it's more or less beginner friendly. But I really want you to understand the concept of how to put together the geometry and get the rig out of it. And so we start a little bit smaller. And I've created 2 steps, and so I hope it's not too difficult to follow along. And the first, so basically that's the end goal, what we see right now. And we're gonna start with the really small one. So basically that's the one we're building in the beginning. Why doesn't it make anything? There is an exclamation mark. Oh, okay, the groups here don't work. So let me quickly change this. So basically we have the rig. Now you can already see what I'm doing. I'm just changing it a little bit, and now it should work, more or less. Why doesn't it work? I think it's because of the, yeah. By the way, the wax you're seeing right now, that's the only thing which is coded, and you don't have to understand it. I even, to be honest, don't understand it myself completely, or I couldn't recreate it like just typing it, but I copied it, and I will show you where you can find it. So for now, you can just leave it out, and it would make sense still. So let's see. We have this very first and basic rigged skeleton, and so it basically contains out of 2 cubes and 2 points, and they are building the mesh. And that's what I want to show you, and so we can start with that. And because that's really basic and not very nice to look at or for the final result, I will take this one, and just with a little few extra steps, we can basically build something which looks like this. So, and I think it's much nicer, and yeah, so that's gonna be the goal for the first part of the tutorial. And for the second part, we will go, or in the second video, we will take all we learned from this one and put it into the big, large one. And then you hopefully gonna be able to make this on your own. So let's start. I think I'm gonna, sometimes I'm just clicking on the note so you can have a look on what I've changed. And if it's important for you, you can just stop the video. And sometimes I will recreate the notes step by step so that the process of just like, for example, reparenting the joints is really obvious to you, and where it's getting difficult, I will recreate it again. And for the part where it's just about numbers, you can copy. I will just click on the notes and describe what I did. So because I don't want the tutorial to be like more than an hour, or it would take, I don't know, 3 hours to really rebuild all the stuff I did. So yeah, we start basically with a cube, and I just put these numbers in. So I don't know, they can be nicer numbers so that we get this nice piece. And the first concept I want to show you, and probably all of you already know it, and for those who don't, it's really, really handy. It's the match size node. What it does is basically it creates a box around your object, and now you can justify the thing within the box. So let me check. I think that's the default setting. So it doesn't matter, or just let me quickly describe what I mean. When we have a box, and this box is, I don't know, somewhere in the room. Why didn't it work? So I don't know. We have a box, and what you can do is you can just add a match size node. So I'm pressing tab and just typing the stuff I need, and then click enter. And basically it moves or positions the object you have to the middle, or really to the center of your whole viewport. That's the basic function of match size. You can use it for this, but it has a nice little features, like you can put them like here to the center, to the minimum of something, or to the maximum of something. And therefore you've got the second input. And if you leave the input out, you can just put it accordingly to the ground position. So what I did was I created the box. So we can go in there, and every time you create something, it will be put directly in the center. And what I want is I want that it's a little bit that I can move it up so that it stays on the ground basically. And therefore I just add the match size, and I why is the target position changed? So I think when I moved it, I moved this to the target position, so sorry for that. But what I want to do is I just look the axis I want to move it. So in the bottom left corner, you can see the X, Y, Z, and the Y is the direction upwards. And so I just say justify Y. I want the minimum to the same of the box. So basically you just have to change it to minimum, and now it sits directly on the ground plane. That's what I want. And the reason for that is I want to pack it in the next step. And when I turn on the points, you can see beforehand we have all the points of the polygon, and after the packing it, it's just 1 point. And then there's a nice little feature in the pack node, which is the pivot location. And there you can change it. I think default setting is centroid. So now it's always in the center or the centroid of your object. But what I want is I want to put it to the origin. and the origin is always the origin of the world. So you really have to make sure that your object sits right on top of this position so that it matches. And the node which is deselected is a handy little feature I'm gonna show you later, because for now I just want to show you the basic concept of building the geometry and afterwards getting the skeleton for the rigging out of it. So I start with the every part of the geometry like that I put it upwards and pack it so that the centroid point is at the bottom of the object. And after that, I transform it. So I just, let me change it. So you can see -90, I put it to the side, or I rotated it. And I did exactly the same twice. So also I transformed it and let me activate the merge so you can see what I did. And to put them on top of each other, there you also can use the match size node. This probably is the most favorite node of mine. So what you can do is you can not just say or tell him that he puts the geometry on the ground or that it centers it, but you can use the second input, as I told you. So I put the first part, so the first mesh, I put into the second input, and the second one right now, if I just see I just rotated it. And now I want to move it like to this point, but I want to have it in a procedural way so that if I change the size of the first one, the second one should move accordingly. And for this, I can use the match size. And what it does is I need to have a look on which axis I want to change or to justify. And in this case, it's the x-axis. And what I did is I want to have the minimum of my first point. So this is the minimum, and that one I want to point to the maximum of my second input. Maybe to make it clearer, I can switch them. So from that the maximum of my first should go to the minimum, and now the second object aligns to the bottom of the first one. That's not what I want. I want it the other way around. So the minimum to max. And now it's really handy because I don't know, maybe I decide in half an hour that I want to have the first object that it should be larger, then the second one follows and I don't have to adjust it. So that's for that. And now the second part you need to understand is how we can derive the skeleton out of this geometry. And the reason I packed the whole stuff is because now we have just 2 points out of this whole geometry, and we can connect these 2 points and have basically our first skeleton which is ready for rigging. And to do that, we add an add node. So let me just add one that you can see the default settings and just put it in there. That's the default setting you should see when you put it in. And there's the handy little feature called delete geometry but keep the points. And I just activate it, and now you can't really see it, but there's the point and there. And now you just have to switch to polygons and say by group. And now that's all you have to do. We have 2 points and a line which connects them. And that's basically what I did. So we have the line, and then we can put in a rig doctor. And for me, KineFX is still a mystery in some cases, but that's what I've learned so far is that rig doctor, yeah, you can initialize stuff, like for example, or you should do. Beforehand, we just have the p attribute and the index. I am come to that later. But we don't have any transform attributes we need for the rigging. So the rig doctor, what it does is, if you activate the initialized transforms, you get the local transform and the global transform. And these two attributes are needed to, that you can, like I did before, go to the rig pose, select one of the joints and move it around. Therefore, the transforms are needed. So after the add, you put in the rig doctor, say initialize transforms, and that's it. And before we can really, so now we just have the rigged skeleton, which we can move around. So as we did here, if you just put in 2 rig poses and use the skeleton blend, and with the weights, we can blend between those 2 poses. That's perfect, but we don't have the geometry. And to catch the geometry, or to capture it, basically you need the capture packed geometry, as the node says. So just packed geo, and there it is. And this one is really used for when you handle packed geometry like I do right now. And you put in the first, the geometry and the skeleton. And that's basically it. But what you really make sure, you need to make sure that the capturing is done in one way or the other. And for me, probably there are more ways, but for me there are just 2 ways right now, I know. And there is one is the manual capturing. So you click, you have selected the capture packed geometry, you go to manual capture, click on the plus icon, and then you really can select the first geometry, and you can go in there and click on the first joint and do this 2 times, and then you have basically captured it. And now let's do it. Just you can see the result. We have captured it, and if you go to the bone deform, so that's another node we need to really connect the geometry and the deformed skeleton. And if we look at this, and then you can see that it deforms properly. The problem with the manual mode is that for 2 points it's very easy. We've just done this in a few seconds. But what about if you have, like, I don't know, 10 or 50 points or joints we have to connect to the geometry? Then it becomes really work heavy. And so what you can do, instead of the manual capturing, you can use an attribute. And the attribute we need is the index attribute. And how we get this? We can use an enumerate node. So I just put in an enumerate, and I think it's basically the default setting. Yes. So the only thing I changed was that the group type I switched it to points, because all we get from the packed geometry is basically 1 point. So yeah, I switched it to points, and integer is fine, index also. And what it does is, you can see it in the spreadsheet, that for the 2 points we have, it just gives it the attribute, and it counts in whole numbers starting with 0. And this we can use. And for the skeleton side, it's totally fine. There we have it. But for the geometry, we need to have it as primitive. So what I did, I put an attribute per mode node, and just select the index node, the index attribute, and change the new class from point to primitive. And at this point, I really have to credit the ones I've got it from, and there are the Real and Tagma. I'm sure you know them, and if you don't know them, please check them out. They have an amazing Patreon channel, and I learned so much from them. And sometimes they are, I think, a little bit too wax heavy for beginners, but they nonetheless they have so much great stuff. And in their Kinefx course, I learned this technique to that you make the geometry and then you delete everything but the points, and from there you get the skeleton, and with the capture pack geo you can and the bone deform, you can really put this together